My name's Jeff Morgan. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and people have been asking me what happened in the race with Mary Brown. Mary Brown, as many people know, was running for the family court judge of the 301st District Court, Judicial District Court. She was the incumbent. She's been in office for about 10 years, I believe it is, and she was running, but last year she did not get her name on the ballot. She had supposedly a campaign manager or consultant or something who submitted fraudulent signatures on her behalf, and she was taken off of the ballot. The way that Dallas is right now, the demographics of it, had Mary Brown been on the ballot, she would have been running unopposed because she had no chance of being beaten. But instead of that happening, because of the fraudulent signatures that were submitted on behalf of Mary Brown had to run as a write-in candidate. Now, she was disqualified from the ballot in December. I believe she didn't even find out about it until January. And the supposed reason is that she was taking care of her mother. Her mother was sick, and I believe her mother died afterwards, and therefore she wasn't paying attention to her campaign. She trusted the guy who was supposed to be submitting signatures. He submitted fraudulent signatures on her behalf, and she was removed from the ballot. So she had to run as a write-in candidate. And there were two other people who ran as write-in candidates as well. One of them was Michelle McKinney. She also was a Democrat. She did not want to see that district court go to a Republican, to the best of my knowledge. So she was going to say, hey, I'm a Democrat. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run for it. And then there was a Republican, Earl Jackson. Earl Jackson, who has 25 or 30 years of experience. Both Michelle and Earl are family law certified. They're very good in what they do. They're people of integrity. They know each other. They've spoken highly of each other. Honest people, people of integrity. So we had two people, one for the Democrats, one for the Republicans, that were people that were good people. And then we had Mary Brown. Now, Mary Brown has had a number of complaints filed against her, both with I believe with the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. She has a complaint with the Texas Ethics Commission against her, which I filed because she violated the Texas election law. As a write-in candidate, she was not allowed to collect donations to her campaign until she was actually a declared write-in candidate. And the earliest, I believe, that was allowed to take place was July the 23rd. I've gone through some of the records, and to the best that I can tell, she actually did not become a write-in candidate until August the 16th. So any money that she collected prior to August the 16th, any money that she collected, that she received for her campaign, to the best of my knowledge, the way that I understand the Texas election code, was considered money that she was not allowed to have. So I filed a complaint against her because what she was doing, she was gaming the system. She was gaining an unfair advantage against her opponents. Anybody who runs as a write-in candidate has the same rules applied to them. So as of July the 23rd, you can submit your name and become a write-in candidate, and then you can start to collect funds. What you cannot do, what Mary Brown did, is collect funds before you submit your name as a write-in candidate, and then submit your name as a write-in candidate on August the 16th, and just think that everything is fine. So because of that, I filed a complaint with the Texas Ethics Commission, and I was sure that the Texas Ethics Commission was going to act promptly. They did respond promptly to me, and Mary Brown had to respond back to them. She had 10 days to write back, or she could have been fined additionally. Now, I don't know what her response was. I have not seen her response. I've asked her to see her response. I've asked her what her reply was, and she has run from me. She has hidden. She's done anything possible. Jeff Stephen Morgan, she has nothing to do with me, is what she has said in one of the videos that I have on her. But she did, to the best of my knowledge, break the Texas election code. And as a judge, it's very important that we have judges that are judges of integrity and honesty, not judges who are trying to cheat against their opponents, not judges who are trying to gain an unfair advantage by raising money when they can't. And they're all in the same position. They're all similarly situated. They all were write-in candidates. Anyway, the Texas Ethics Commission, in my opinion, I've been very, very disappointed with them. They said they could only take up the issue every quarter, once a quarter, when the commission met together. So the earliest they could take a look at what happened with Mary Brown is in December. I think it's the 13th and the 14th. And it may not even be discussed then. So we have a Texas Ethics Commission that I believe should have had a special meeting to investigate what happened with Mary Brown, because Mary Brown was running in an election. And we want our elections to be fair. We want our elections to be things that we can trust in. When we file a complaint to the Texas Ethics Commission and there is proof before them that Mary Brown has violated the Texas election code, I believe they should have actually acted upon that very promptly prior to any of the write-in candidates, write-in vote being accepted. So anyway, as of this past week is when the election was done, and I do have the results right here. Now, this is unofficial. This was the summary results report from the 2022 general and joint election, and this is for Dallas County, the district judge, the 301st Judicial District Court. And they got to vote for one person. Now, the way that you voted for this, when you went to the ballot, and I know because I did this, when you went to the ballot, the 301st was empty. You had to write somebody in, and you could write in either Mary Brown, who was the incumbent, you could write in Michelle McKinney, or you could write in Earl Jackson. And I believe as well, even though they were all listed as independent, I don't remember, but I think that they had a D or an R behind their names. So I think that you could have seen that there were two Democrats running and one Republican. I just don't remember right offhand. Anyway, so people go and they write in the votes, and here was the vote total. The write-in vote total was like this, and this is a very interesting the way these totals are right now, and I want to comment about them afterwards. So as a write-in candidate, Mary Brown, the unethical, in my opinion, Mary Brown, who I believe violated the Texas Election Code, who I believe the Texas Ethics Commission had a duty to actually investigate prior to allowing her to win an election, perhaps by cheating. She got about 57,474 votes. That's what we have down here, 57,474 votes. Earl Jackson was the Republican who ran. He got 31,991 votes. So Mary Brown received almost 36% of the vote. Earl Jackson received a little bit over 20% of the vote. Michelle McKinney, and the Democratic lady who was running for the district court judge, again, another person of honesty and integrity like Earl Jackson, she got 18,559 votes, 11.62% of the vote. And if you look, I said 36%, 20%, and then basically 12%. So 36 and 20 is what, 56, and another 12% is 68. So what happened to the remaining votes? Well, we have something going on here right now. We have write-in uncertified. And this is very interesting to me because there are 44,406 votes that are write-in uncertified. Write-in uncertified. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I think that those are people that wrote in a vote and they've not yet been certified, but I'm not sure why though. It may be that instead of saying Earl Jackson, they may have said the Republican. And instead of saying Michelle McKinney, they may have said the Democrat or the black lady or something like that. It's very important that these things are mentioned as well, because as I understand the way elections work in the state of Texas, you must look at voter intent. So if a person wrote down, did not remember Earl's name, but said the Republican guy or the Republican, the voter's intent was very clear. In this race, they were voting for the Republican, Earl Jackson. Now, if they would have said the black lady, it would have been very clear. Michelle McKinney. They wouldn't have had to even put a party to it. The black lady, there was only one black lady. That would be Michelle McKinney. If they would have said the current judge or the white lady or something like that, that would have been clear as well, that vote would have went for Mary Brown. Something else that could conceivably have happened would have been if a voter put down the Democrat or Democrat. Well, in a situation like this, the voter's intent cannot be discerned because there were two Democrats running for a judge. So that vote, because we cannot discern what the voter's intent was, should immediately be disqualified. But if you put down Republican, it should go to Earl Jackson. So anyway, again, there's 44,000 votes that are uncertified right now. This could actually change the results of the election. Now, for Michelle McKinney, she would have to win a whole lot of them. I mean, because she's got about 18,000 votes right now. She needed to get almost all 44,000, and the vast majority of them, in order to win. Earl Jackson has 32,000, and in order for him to win, assuming that Mary Brown got none of the votes, and that's an assumption that probably is not a valid assumption, but all he would have to do then would get about 26,000 of those votes, have a 26,000 margin of difference between him and Mary Brown is the better way to put it. So if he, out of these 44,000 votes, if he had 26,000 more votes than Mary Brown, he would be the winner. And then we also have some votes that are not assigned. Now, I don't know who these votes are for. Maybe these are people that just said Donald Duck. Maybe Alex Stein. Alex Stein was You know, Alex Stein did not do a service at this point in time. Alex Stein was against Mary Brown, but then he claimed that he was running for the district court judge. And there may have been some people that voted for Alex Stein, even though he was not qualified, because the Texas Constitution defines who can run for that position. He was not qualified. And he was really doing this, in my opinion, to draw attention to himself. So if perhaps, maybe we'll say that 4,000 of those votes went to Alex Stein that would have gone to the Republican, Earl Jackson. Alex Stein has done a disservice, because he said he wanted to get rid of Mary Brown. And I know, because I talked both with Michelle McKinney and Earl Jackson, both of them wanted nothing more than to get rid of Mary Brown. These are both attorneys. They both appeared before her. They have both said that she is not a good judge. She's been called disgraceful. They've been called other things. And I've talked with them as well. They have basically stood by what their assessment of her was. She's not a fair person. She's a person that obviously, if she's violated the ethics code, something is wrong here. So that is the update right now. There were a total of 159,712 votes cast in this election for the Judicial District Court. Now, I will also say this. I've got a couple of comments here that I'd like to make as well. First off, when I said that had Mary Brown just put her name on the ballot, had she gotten her name on the ballot rather than submitting fraudulent signatures, nobody would have challenged her. Michelle McKinney would not have challenged her as another Democrat, and Earl Jackson wouldn't have challenged her. Why is that? Because in the city of Dallas, the Democratic paradise, the socialist paradise of Dallas, generally speaking, if you don't get 60% of the vote, whatever it is, maybe there are people that say there's a problem with you. For example, in the race for governor, and we know that in the state of Texas overwhelmingly voted for Greg Abbott. But the city of Dallas is different. The city of Dallas voted almost 63% for Beto O'Rourke, Robert Francis O'Rourke, and only 35.91, about 36% for Governor Greg Abbott. So out of the 622,000 votes that were cast, 390,000 of those votes, 390,000 of the 622,000 votes went to Beto O'Rourke. Very, very, very out of sync with the state. Once again. And Greg Abbott got about 228,000 votes. And then there were some other votes that were in there as well. So it's not going to actually add up to 622,000 here, because there were other people that voted for other things. But my point is this, that in a statewide race, when the state offices were swept by Republicans, the city of Dallas, over 60% voted for the Democratic person. The lieutenant governor, for example, another example right here, Mike Collier was running against Dan Patrick. Mike Collier, the Democrat, he got 62.5 approximately percent of the vote. Dan Patrick got 34.33% of the vote. So out of the 619,000 votes approximately that were cast for lieutenant governor, Collier got about 388,000. Dan Patrick got about 213,000. Big Democratic margin in this race, but the state once again rejected Mike Collier to be the lieutenant governor. We look at the attorney general race, and Attorney General Ken Paxton, who's been suing the Biden administration, has done a great job as far as being the lead attorney general in many cases against the federal government. And so we have 617,000 votes cast in this election for the attorney general. About 62.5% of those votes went to the Democrat, Rochelle Garza. No qualifications to the best of my knowledge, soft on crime, open borders, everything else. But Dallas voted about 386,000 votes to the Democrat, Rochelle Garza. When it came down to Attorney General Ken Paxton, once again, one of the leading attorney generals throughout the United States of America, he got under 210,000 votes. So as I said, Dallas is a Democratic paradise. Or a socialist swamp. We could put it in those terms as well. You can go at all of the state races and you'll see that is taking place. We have another race right here, and even in this one, a county commissioner race. And the interesting thing about this race is that even the Dallas Morning News, socialist rag that it is to a large degree, even they were endorsing the current county commissioner, J.J. Koch, versus Summer, whatever his name is, Sumner or Summer, I can't remember his name actually. I was a person that I didn't even no was running. But he got 108,000 votes, 53% of the vote, and J.J. Koch got 57% of the vote. So really, to me, if I look at this right here, I would say that probably what took place there is that probably the normal people of the city of Dallas wanted J.J. Koch back there. The reason I'm saying this once again is because you have a certain core group of Democrats. These are the Democrats that listen for the Democratic dog whistle. And as soon as that dog whistle blows, they fall in line. They're like obedient little people, and they vote for the candidates being put out to them. That's why you have people voting for Beto. That's why you have people voting for Garza. That's why you have people voting for Gahalier. That's why you have people voting for a lot of people here. You have about a 60% core committed Democratic base that just basically says, what does the Democratic Party want me to do? And they listen for the dog whistle, and as soon as that dog whistle comes out, that's what they do. That's who they follow. And the reason I'm saying this is because it comes back down again to Mary Brown. So Clay Jenkins was supporting Mary Brown. And evidently there were some other people that must have been doing that. So when the Democratic dog whistle came out, they said, well, I'm going to just write in Mary Brown, just because I'm going to write in Mary Brown. As Democrats started listening to Michelle McKinney, there were a number of Democrats that said, wait a minute, she is much better. She's going to represent us. She is a person of honesty and integrity. She is not a person like Mary Brown. So the thinking Democrats, the good Democrats, actually, they departed quite a bit. Because out of the Democratic vote, as it currently stands right now, Michelle McKinney got about 25% of the Democratic vote. And had the Democratic Party not sent out their dog whistle and said, vote for Mary Brown, we've got to keep this district Democrat, even though Mary Brown is corrupt, even though Mary Brown is unethical, even though Mary Brown has violated the Texas Constitution, has multiple complaints against her, the Democrats will vote for her. So that's what we were facing in the issue with the 301st District Court with Mary Brown. I don't know what the final determination of this is, because there are write-ins that are uncertified. And again, I'm not sure exactly what that means. Somebody maybe that knows more than I do can comment on this, but 44,000 uncertified votes. My understanding, the way that I think about it would be is that once you go through these votes, that perhaps you would say, we need to certify this as a vote for Earl Jackson or Michelle McKinney or Mary Brown, whoever. But the voter's intent must be clear. If they say the white guy, if they say the Republican, if they say the old man, whatever you want to call it, the voter's intent is for the guy. If they say the Democrat, you have no idea what their intent is. If they say the black lady, the Democratic black woman, that's fine. That's Michelle McKinney. If they say the white woman or the Democratic incumbent judge or the corrupt judge, Mary Brown, she gets those votes, okay? So that's the way that I think you certify those. But, if somebody put down the honest person, that would be another one that you could not discern the voter's intent, because you have two honest people here, Earl Jackson, the Republican, and Michelle McKinney, the Democrat. What you could do is say that's not a Mary Brown vote, but neither one of the other candidates would get that vote. You couldn't split it in half. I don't believe you can split the vote in half like that and say, well, half for Earl and half for Michelle. Or I don't think that you can do that. I can't see that, because you get one person, one vote. But right now, this is what's going on in the state of Texas in the 301st Judicial District Court. I've had many people ask me about it, asking for an update. So this is my attempt to give an update right now. These are unofficial results. Currently, Mary Brown has 36% of the vote. Currently, Earl Jackson has 20% of the vote. And remember, with Republicans, a lot of times Republicans vote the very last day. They go in person. So there's a lot of votes right there, write-in people on the last day. From what I was hearing, is that there were a lot of people voting for Earl Jackson on that last day. And I also want to say something else about the write-in votes, because I had heard that there was some electioneering going on behalf of Mary Brown. And I heard this actually from Democrats, that there were people in line telling Democrats how to vote for Mary Brown. Now, that is illegal in the state of Texas. That is electioneering, and that would be right in line with the character of Mary Brown as I have seen it and described it in the past, unethical, and a person who really, who will do anything to win. She wanted to win, so she tried to cheat her way in, even if it meant getting an unfair advantage against her opponents, even if it meant submitting fraudulent signatures, whatever it is. So at this point in time, this is where it stands. I don't know what the final result's going to be. I do hope that all of these uncertified votes get to be counted and properly assigned. And I also wish that the Texas Ethics Commission would change their procedures. This is something that the public should have known, that Mary Brown was trying to cheat her way into office, that she was raising funds in a way that gave her an advantage, an unfair advantage. Imagine if you're running a quarter-mile sprint and your opponent only has to run 200 yards or 220 yards. You'd say, wait a minute, that's not right. This is unfair. And that's basically what Mary Brown was able to do when she's able to raise money like that. And the law firms that were giving her money, because look at law firms, they know if I give you money, I'm going to be on your good list down there. This is something that I think even the law firm should have known about too. And I believe that there's no excuse for these law firms doing it. I believe that these law firms also should have perhaps a penalty to come along their way, or some type of censure or whatever. But Mary Brown in particular, she raised $32,000 by the end of June. I think she raised another $10,000 or $11,000 before she actually filed to become a candidate. So conceivably, she could be looking at a fine of $120-some thousand. But even more important than the fine, they let her cheat to get in. And to the Texas Ethics Commission, I just think that once again, you need to be talking to the legislators as well then and say, if this is the case, if we were following the rules, these are the rules that you made, these rules need to be changed so that we can never let another person cheat their way into office, have an unfair advantage against their opponents. Thank you.